Let's move over to our next conversation now. As gloriously varied as it is hugely popular, gospel music is here to stay. From its humble roots in the 18th century as an expression of the oppressed people of America's Deep South gospel music, with its rich history and unique sound, it has grown into an international phenomenon. Such is its popularity that in the US, gospel and contemporary Christian recordings continue to outsell jazz and classical ones. Now, aside being this popular, the gospel scene is one that is burdened with talent. And this morning, we have one of such talents here with us on the show. He was born Samuel Nwachukwu, but better known by his stage name, CalledOut Music. He's a British music producer, singer, songwriter, instrumentalist, and mobile award winner. It is a delight to have you, CalledOut Music, joining us here. My first time officially meeting you in real life, but I think that you're absolutely talented and your music has blessed us from all around the world. Good to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. Now let's begin from the beginning. How did this all start, your music journey? Take us through it. And why the name? I've always wondered, CalledOut Music. Sometimes I want to spiritualize it and think, oh, being called out, but I want to hear from you as well.
I started when I was 7 years old. My father bought a piano to learn to play by himself, and I just picked it up. And from 7 till I was 21, I was just learning, writing, recording, and producing for other people. And then when I was 21, I decided to start my own thing and just launch out and make my own music. And CalledOut Music is actually from scripture. You know, 1 Peter 2:9 says, we're a chosen generation, royal priesthood, holy nation, called out of darkness into light. So that's basically what it's about. It is quite spiritual, but yeah, I'll allow that.
Okay. I also want you to, quickly share, why gospel music, and also the gospel music, from the 80s and the 90s seem to be very different from, the style, that we're getting to see these days. Now there's much more freedom with the outfits, with the expression, and some of all of that. So tell us about that. How it's different, in your era.
I think across different eras, like the gospel sound and the Christian sound has always kind of reflected or had inspirations from the secular sound. So I feel like right now in our generation, the gospel sound is heavily influenced by Afro beats and Afro pop and urban contemporary Christian sounds and melodies. And I feel like it's the same. It's always been the same all throughout the decades. The 80s Christian sounds reflected the sound of the 80s, And I feel like what we're trying to do right now is where we have culture and faith and bringing it together and creating a space where people feel like, yeah, this sound is very relevant to me right now in my generation. So yeah, I feel like the gospel is relevant. So what better way than to bring it in sounds that people recognize,
All right, talking about the sounds that people recognize, we want to have a feel of the awesomeness of CalledOut Music's voice. Let's take a look at his video.
Final say over every circumstance, your purpose for me will come to pass. Lord, you have perfectly orchestrated such a wonderful plan for me.
Such beautiful voice.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
All right, CalledOut Music. Let's talk about your influence and how your faith has merged with your music. Have you at any point felt some form of pressure to go mainstream and do secular music, I would say?
I think I'll be lying to you if I said I don't get that, very often. It's one of those things where with gospel music, it's message driven. So if you don't believe the message, it's quite hard to stick out all the way through. It's something that we're trying to share hope and give faith and give people a sense of direction in terms of, hey, pointing people to the cross and pointing people to Christ. And if we ourselves don't believe the faith, it's going to be very easy to, just veer off and say, okay, let me try something else or do something else. But with me personally, I do feel pressure, and maybe now less than I did before. But I'm so grateful that it's even at a point where we can tour and travel and, go around the world and be recognized by making faith-based music. And we've even been blessed to pick up a mobile award, which is a very prestigious award. Recognized all around the world.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
All right. I also, something that always, has been in my mind, congratulations on the mobile award. We hope that we have time to squeeze in, a little bit more about, what more you would like to win, and where your music is going. But, something I've always wondered is it necessary, that you are a fully born again Christian before you can make gospel music? Or are there people in that industry that aren't necessarily born again?
some people say gospel music is a genre. I think the gospel itself is a lifestyle. And I feel like unless you've been fully transformed and changed by the message, it won't be as authentic. And I always say to people, if I did any other style of music or if I did secular music, I would be faking it. So I think that me doing what I do right now is me being my authentic self and being as real as possible. So to answer your question, it could be possible, but how authentic it would be, I would have doubts if the person is not a believer.
Okay, let's talk about your awards. Congratulations on Mumu Awards.
Thank you.
Take us back to the day that you won. How was it for you? How did you react? What were you doing?
I was actually making the album that's actually dropping next in July. So I got a call. It was bang in the middle of the pandemic, so I couldn't even go to the award show. And I got a phone call and they said, "Congratulations, you've won it." And I just broke down. I was in tears actually because it was one of the toughest years of my life. I think for most people, that year was so hard. And I just broke down and I just thanked God for being in a position where I can win, this sort of award without having to necessarily do other styles of music. It was a very emotional day, I would say. But I'm so humbled to everyone who supported me so far. Like, a massive thank you. This won't be possible without anyone else.
Oh, the music is so good. It's pretty difficult to not support it. Let's talk about people you would love to work with, African artists, that you would like to work with.
There's a few, I think, really high on my priority list. Artists like Chike, artists like Johnny Drill, obviously Uncle Nathaniel Bassey, amazing, like, Christian artists, Dunsin Oyekan, like Sinach. So these are people in the continent who I'm really just inspired by at the moment. But yeah, those are the ones I'd say.
I'm not surprised. I mean, they're some very deep names you have called, people that you're thinking these ones are hearing directly from above. Now, we know that you have an album coming out in July. Yeah. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
As well as your tour. Tell us very quickly what the plans are for you. What should we expect from CalledOut Music?
So the album is just lots of great music. It's basically about this reality we have as believers, just having everything that we need in God. And we're going to be touring with it. So I'm going to be in Canada in July, and I'm going to be going around Europe in September, and hopefully ending up in London very, very soon. But we plan to do an African sort of like maybe 5-6 city tour next year, hopefully. So please watch out for that.
All right, sounds really, really good. And thank you so much for stopping by. You want to, do a quick 30 seconds line?
You have to call out, please. I probably want to ask you to do final say, but I'll let you do whichever one you like.
You want me to sing on live?
Get us into the Friday.
Just one line, 2 lines, 3 lines.
Cool, sure.
Lead us out.
It's not over till you say so. Say so till you say so. It's not finished till you say so. Say so till you say so. Oh,
indeed, it is not over until we say so, and we say that it is almost over here on Breakfast Central, and the interview with CalledOut Music is over at this point. Thank you so much for joining us, sharing your art, your talent, and your faith with us here on Breakfast Central. We've been speaking with CalledOut Music, but there's still so much more here on News Central later today.